Earnings looked better than some of the doomsday scenarios had predicted. Ridership is coming back, but it is still way down year on year. What does ridership look like to you over the coming winter months?
Yeah, so quarter over quarter, we saw 47% growth in revenue. And so a very material return, but a ways to go. It's really hard to predict. The news of the vaccine is great for society as well as for Lyft. And so we're really planning to be thoughtful about how we use our capital and be ready to hit profitability in Q4 of next year, hell or high water irrelevant to the speed of the recovery.
So when are you forecasting a vaccine will be ready, and how are you baking that into your model?
We're being careful again to predict a slow recovery. As a human living in society with the pandemic, I'm hopeful that it is available in the first half of next year in a meaningful way. And that would also be great, obviously, for our drivers and riders and business. But again, we are ready to hit profitability at the end of next year, even with a slower recovery.
So then what is your longer term view of ride sharing with people leaving big cities to suburbs? Maybe we have a vaccine, but that trend continues. And how does that change the competitive dynamics between Lyft and Uber?
Yeah, one of the ways that we're differentiating is that we're really focused on providing a portfolio of transportation options for personal transportation. So examples of that being bike share. We purchased the bike share system known as Bay Wheels in the Bay Area, known as City Bike in New York, and Divvy in Chicago. And so we've actually seen bike share year over year rise, while obviously ride share has decreased. We've also added consumer rentals to our mix. And so we're seeing the people's interest in transportation as a service is going to be a long-term trend, just as people have moved away from owning DVDs and moving to, let's say, Netflix or music, Spotify. We see the same thing happening in transportation. So long-term, I'd say still healthy. There will be shifts. There'll be changes in where people live, how people get around. But by having a portfolio approach, we'll be able to capture that large shift.
Now, you've bolstered your delivery business. You've done deals with Grubhub to deliver food and Epic to deliver non-emergency or arrange transit for non-emergency medical appointments. What else can you do to expand delivery as we wait for travel and commuting to bounce back?
Yeah, so we're very excited about the Grubhub relationship. So the way that works is with our subscription service that we call Pink, you get access to all of Grubhub's restaurants with free delivery if you're a Pink subscriber on Lyft. In terms of medical transportation, it's something that we've continued to invest in over the last few years. Non-emergency medical transportation, we believe, is a multi-billion-dollar opportunity. And so the integration with Epic allows us to be integrated. I believe Epic's software is used by 70% of hospitals across the country. So that's a great integration. And then on delivery more broadly, we're not interested in being another consumer platform. As mentioned, we've partnered with Grubhub on that. What we're focused on is what we can do to be a logistics layer for other large retailers or businesses without cutting ourselves in between that retailer and the consumer. And what we're hearing from retailers is, while they're going through the pandemic, they wanted to get on some of these different platforms, but that they really want the traffic to be, and their customers to be loyal and organic to their website and to their platforms. And so I think that's going to be a really nice opportunity for us next year.
So how profitable can that be? Like, how do the take rates differ from your other businesses? Obviously, we know that food delivery is an especially costly business and has been for Uber.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big differences, when you talk about Uber Eats, is that they're subsidizing the costs, the actual costs, and then they're charging the restaurant in that case, anywhere from I believe a 20 to 30% commission. And so the difference is, if we work with retailers, let's talk not about food for a second, but let's think of a non-perishable item, and we provide that last mile service at a similar kind of rate to people getting around in a Lyft, there's actually a lot of white space opportunity where existing providers can't provide same day service, like a UPS or FedEx.
Now, Prop 22 was obviously a huge victory for you in California, and I know you're going to use that as a blueprint for conversations at the state and federal level across the country. What states are you engaging with first, and how do you convince, a new administration, Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren, were against this?
Yeah, this was a big turning point. You have the state of California, which is extremely progressive. I believe President-elect Biden won by 30% in the state of California. And this proposition to allow drivers to be both independent and get benefits like healthcare, as well as disability and additional insurance protections, won by nearly a 20% margin. So it had support broadly from all parties, Democrat, Republican, Independent. And so we will be looking to talk to regulators and labor leaders across the country to say, hey, let's all work together. Drivers want this on a 6-to-1 basis. Drivers prefer to be independent contractors instead of being an employee, but they also want benefits. And so we have to find a way that by providing benefits that they don't all turn into employees, which many existing laws would actually do, because that would result in things like schedules and other things that drivers are and Lyft is not interested in.
Now, John, I know that every New Year's Eve, you are a Lyft driver. Are you going to be driving this New Year's Eve? Certainly an unprecedented
That's the plan.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah, that is the plan. I've done it every year. One year where we had our first child a few days earlier. My wife was not too happy about that, but this one's a little different. But I'm gonna do my best.